Good morning. Welcome back to the next episode of Learn This Editing UI. It's taken a while, isn't it? But I talked about it last time. There's just a bunch to do. And I think you underestimate how big an impact not working on it full time has. Don't know what that error is about. But where we're up to, if I go and run, I don't know what's split in that way. Edit, and our screen now works. I can draw pieces in all these boxes. I can update these ones on here, but these buttons currently do nothing, and I can't get back to the actually go and play with this in a game. So, get a sip of tea. My throat's still going on me. I think the thing to do is plumb this up so you can use these in a game, and then we will come back, finish the features off that need doing, and make it look nicer, because it does look a bit janky at the minute. Okay. Now, one thing to say is I think that I've made a bit of an oversight as I've been working on this. The code has like this piece type. So if I can go and find, where would it be? I guess in game, Odin. Is it used in here anywhere? Yeah, so we have this global state piece buffer that contains piece, which has our filled information that tells us which of that 5x5 grid is filled. And it has this bounding dim on it. Now, the reason I've done that is it's useful to us in the game logic, because if I go and run a game, okay, where these are square, there's not the best examples. There we go. So this one's not perfectly square that's coming up. And so it's useful to me to know where its top and right are. So if I'm moving into an edge, or if I rotate, if I'm moving here, instead of having to check if each individual square collides, I can instead check whether the entire bounding dim collides with anything. And if it does, only then iterate through all of the individual tiles. So there's 2 points in there. One is our newly drawn pieces are obviously going to need a bounding dim added to them. The other is that we're going to need to rearrange this piece data if I don't change the existing logic, so that the pieces are all sat in the bottom left corner. If you think, our editing UI allows you to make pieces that sit anywhere with a rotation point anywhere in that 5x5 grid, but importantly, not outside of it. Whereas the game logic would allow you to only have the piece abutted into that bottom left corner, but the rotation center can be negative. It can be out to the left of the piece. We could fix that by just rotating the piece, right, and forcing the rotation center back into the grid. But I think it's nice for the piece to come in looking exactly like how you drew it. So that feels like a weird restriction to put in. So I think what we're going to end up with is a piece data and a game piece data, where piece data, a piece and a game piece, where game piece will need to know bounding dim, piece will not, and we'll have a piece to game piece function to do that sort of translation for us. Which is also, I think it's a bit of refactoring to do. I think this might be a bit of a slowdown point. I think actually the last episode, I think, felt like things ticked off quite quickly. Whereas I think now we're going to break a load of stuff, basically. But it's how it is. So, let's have a bit of a think then. We currently have a global state that has our pieces on it. I think they're going to want to be these edit style pieces. The game state is going to need to then have pieces on it again, which it didn't before. Is that the right way to think of this? Are we getting ahead of ourselves? We can't even get out of that screen yet. Yeah, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. So instead of doing that, we'll keep that in the back of our heads. So we're on the edit page, and I need to be able to click a button. Where am I looking? What changes have I made? Not sure I wanted any changes. So I'm on this screen. I need to be able to do what I'm doing in here, and then either click cancel and be taken back to the main menu with these changes undone, or exit and be taken back to the main menu with these changes maintained. So let's do that then. Go find where exit lives. There's two of these. Edit screen. That size the right one. Is that big enough on the video? 6. So I will not assume people have been watching all the videos. So we have, I've come up with I hesitate to even call it an architecture. When I talk to people about this, I'm like, I don't think I could call it an architecture. I have 2 global buffers. And what I have is a sort of stream where I have the game state, which is stuff that kind of exists independent of the screen. That generates me entities, which are objects that know what they were in the game. They may be interactive, they may be visible, and they know where they sit on screen. This is how we handle like click handling and generating drawables, which is the next buffer. So when we draw an entity that contains a string, I have some logic that then says, actually, drawing a string means drawing, in this case, 4 quads and applying the correct textures to them to draw EXIT, giving them the right sizing, like all that jazz. So that's what this here is. So essentially, this is saying, how do we take our edit screen and turn it into the thing that's on the screen? We have our buttons. Try to remember where their click handling happens. There's edit cancel on click. Probably our easier one. Right, and they currently just print. They've got access to a pointer to game, so let's make that nicely named. And then we think. So you click cancel. I think what we do is just send you back to the main menu. What happens when we do that? So nothing's updated in the global state. So I go to edit, draw some yellow, I cancel, I come back, and it's gone. Right? Whereas in here, if you do this, what do we want to do? We're also going to send you back to the main menu. Before we do that, we're going to say edit state, game state cast 2. The right way to do it. And then we can say game.global.pieceBuffer is equal to edit state dot piecebuffer. Now that's not done. There's some more thinking to do in there, but hopefully we now go edit. I edit this and I draw some stuff in there. I exit. I come back to edit and it's still there, right? Now I think that's going to cause all sorts of chaos if I come into here. It just works. I think it will cause some chaos, so that works. That's good to know. I don't know. Pop them down somewhere. Pop that down somewhere. I haven't changed the number of pieces, right? If I keep going, what you'll notice, I never see that like yellow one. I could probably do with a way to get back out of game as well. Check for empties and update. of pieces. But I guess to just quickly demonstrate what I'm saying, I think is an issue. If I come in here, I remove this blue and I remove this orange, and we exit and we start a game, we get this nonsense where we're dropping pieces that just don't exist. And you can see here by the fact I can't move all the way to the right. Oh, maybe that is fine. No, it isn't. Yeah, it's not got a correct bounding box. It thinks it has a bounding box still. If I keep going, there we go. We eventually do get our actual piece. The game's not broken, but it's also not ideal. All right, so we need to do that. I would like to add a handler on the game screen. So if I hit escape, I go back to the main menu rather than exiting the game. So I think I have spacebar to exit the game. Just looking here, yeah. I add. Oh, let's go back. Else if stuff. Key event dot type press and key event dot car is. Do we have escape already? We don't. Apparently. Right, so let's add it. Escape. Which will probably break something else, but worry about that in a second. Exit on click. Game to menu. I seem to be calling everything on click. I don't think it's necessary. Sorry, you take game. We'll jump to where you're defined, and we will say something. What do I call it? Exit to menu. Proc. Game. Game dot screen is equal to main menu. That won't work though. So if we go and run that now, we hit space. Oh, it does work. Because space is the wrong one. Escape's the new one. Yeah, so there's nothing listening for escape presses yet. Handled in here. Is it going to be in main, maybe? In here. Get key from GLFW key code. So let's get in here. GLFW. Presumably you have escape. Yes. Turns dot escape true. And I can come back. That's useful. Right. Nice. I don't know what's the matter with me. My throat is just dead at the minute. Just have the world's longest cold. Okay. Let's get back to our to-do. In nya. Because what? We would like to count how many pieces there are and also rearrange them. So if I go back to edit, I take this piece here out and I exit, I now have 2 pieces, but this doesn't know that, so I still get these empties. Right? So what I need to do is I need to both make the Oh, that's kind of painful, isn't it? Thinking. Do we need to let the global state know about it? I think global state is just going to be exactly the same as our edit state because we're using which number you are to work out what color you should be. So if I start rearranging them on the global state, when I reopen the edit state, everything's going to change color. Yeah, I think the global state and the edit state want to be the same as each other, which makes this first part easy. It means it isn't going to happen in there, right? That logic is now sane, and it means that, like I say, if I come in here, this works. If I get rid of that and I put some stuff in here, I exit and I come back, it's exactly like I left it. So I think that's desired. So it is all going to be on when I click start. Okay. Let's go find our global state again. I think that means this is actually going to look like that. And wherever was using that, we would like to fix. You, sir, init game, do not care. Start game on click. Can't do that anymore. And then that's the next logic. Right. I think the thing to do is go find our game state. And this will have on it piece buffer. Max pieces. No? Piece. And a piece count. Oops. Shuffle you over there. Pull this up by global state, because I guess it really lives with that now. Does that make sense? I think so. Right, let's come back. Say game.screen, game state is initial game state. Update you to actually do this. Game.state as game. Right. Other one, I think, does the same thing. Instead of taking the game.global, we're going to take game.state at game state, which we've actually already got pulled out. So we can go game state.that and game state.this. That means currently it'll blow up because we've not updated that yet. So you're actually game state there and your game state there. Blows up because it starts trying to add argument to int max. Interesting. Okay, we ignore that for now because I don't know what to make of that. Is it passing it 0? I'll make that a +1. Oops. Then load. You get a different error. Yeah, that's what I expect to see. Oh no, the other one there was the same thing. Okay. You can't pass 0 there. That won't be 0, so that's fine. Oh, it might be 0, right? You could just go and empty everything. Okay, we'll handle that. Now, this is fun. It means that initial game state can't actually be done like this, right? Not what that was about. Ticks per drop, ticks until drop. Has lost its full score, levels cleared. Problem we now have is piece buffer and piece count aren't known at compile time, right? Means initial game state actually now needs to be a procedure of game. It needs to be a procedure of game, or does it need to be a procedure that takes global state? Let's just sort this out first. I think we'll do something in here like pull this out into a separate bit of logic. Can we try and do like piece buffer and piece count? Be equal to get game pieces global state. Take a game dot global. Let's drop down at nya. Say that. Will return for us piece buffer. Max pieces piece. And it piece count. How to write Odin. So I want to do something like that. So what do we do? Find we have a thing for piece. We do not. Right. Let's say if piece is empty, it can be a function that takes a piece. We'll return a ball. We'll go through and we'll say for we're like square cell in piece.filled. If cell is not equal to 0, return false. We get to the end, we return true. So we get through every cell, we don't find anything filled. This piece is empty. Piece count currently is 0. We'd like to say for piece in global dot piece buffer. Global piece in global dot piece buffer. If piece is empty, global piece will continue. Else piece buffer at piece count be equal to this global piece. And piece count goes up by 1. And then we'll just have a thing here say if piece count is 0 at this point, panic. Not start a game with no pieces. What's your problem? Game state. Because you should now look like that. Okay. We can now start. Come back. We go edit. Add piece. Edit a piece. And I remove a piece. That I hit that. Ooh. Our bounding box is still just fucked. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's good. Right, so our new piece is there. And our blue piece is nowhere to be seen. And the game ends. Nice. Still got our bounding box problem, but you know where to solve it now. Right. What do we do now then? Now I think we need to go and update game state to have this distinction between game piece and normal piece. Come back. So in here, we have a piece buffer. We're going to have piece struct build piece data and rot center. And we're going to have game piece. Can I remember how you do this? There's a bit of trickery you can do, isn't there? Why is that unhappy? Because you don't have a type. That's a grid pos. I think there's a bit of trickery you can do in here to say what's going on. That and that. And I would like to say using piece. So now game piece has all the things on piece plus a bounding dim. Because it's useful for us that these all stay aligned. And we're going to change their values, but not their types. So that's, I think, useful to us. I've not gotten to use that trick before, so... Oh, does it not work? No, because we're not using game piece anyway yet. So yeah, that, I think, is the plan. And if we come back to game... On game state, the change to make this, and that now has a gajillion compile errors and everything is broken and the game won't work. So the plan now is to go through, fix those, and get the game working again. I think that's going to take a little while, so I might go and grab a quick cup of tea. Be back with you in a minute. Okay, and I am back. Let us, I think, what's the best way to go about this? Maybe starting from main.odin? Work our way down the list. They're easy fixes, right? These just need to be deleted. And deleted. Initial game state. This is where things start to get more interesting. So you take global state. You now return us a buffer of game pieces, piece count. Means we can't just do this. We have to have game piece from piece. Takes a piece, which is a piece. And we'll return game piece, which is a game piece. What we get in here is then piece by piece count, game piece from piece with that global piece. All of our new logic lives in here. Right. What are we going to do? So there's two things to do. One is to find the bounding box of the piece and then move all of its cells so that the bounding box sits in the bottom left. So I'm going to need to find the position and dimensions of the bounding box. The dimensions of the bounding box just go onto the game piece. The position is used to update the piece data. So get piece bounding box. Sounds like a good place to start. Take a piece and return me a pos, a grid pos, because I think that's our one that's in integers. Go away. Oh no, where did we go from? Somewhere there. So let's stick a nice to do in here in case I get lost. And a dim is a grid dim. Return me a game piece, which is again to do. Let me just panic unimplemented for now. I remember the Emacs shortcuts. There we go. Panic unimplemented. Don't know why that one's erroring. Oh, I've drawn two things. Piece that returns those. Right. Game piece from piece. We'll start with getting bounding box pos, bounding box dim is equal to get piece bounding box from piece. Do we need to have special handling if it is 0, 0? I don't think so. Because our logic will then just not move it. So that's fine. So I think game piece dot bounding dim, bounding box dim. We can do immediately. Game piece dot rot center. Maybe piece dot rot center. Hang on. Let's do x is equal to piece dot rot center x minus bounding box pos y. I need to make a thing for doing arithmetic on pieces. It's really silly, but I haven't done it yet. Bounding box dot y. We update where bounding box is going to go. So they're the easy ones. And then we need to translate all of the cells. How do we do that? What's my tea? What's the easiest way to do it? We know every cell in piece sits inside of its bounding box. So options are, we could iterate over every cell in game piece and look up in piece whether or not it's filled. That might be the simplest thing to do. And the number of cells involved is so small, I don't think that there's any issue. So if the bounding box is 2 by 3, we could check 6 cells and fill just those 6. But you know, the difference between doing 6 and doing 25 is negligible. So maybe that is the thing to do. What else can we say? So the buffer will initialize to all empty. So I could say iterate over the things in pieces bounding box and do it the other way. I don't know if that actually is more complicated, but that sounds more complicated. So I think I'm going to do the first version I've said. So I'm just going to iterate over my output. So I'm going to say for cell in game piece dot build. That the thing. No? Your problem. Must be an identifier. No? Like that. I think I can then do cell equals something. If I take that out, I can't. Yeah. Thought so. Right. So. Oh, how do we do this? So index in the original piece will be equal to my index plus bounding box pos dot x plus bounding box pos dot y times piece width. Right, so that's kind of our stride. Who's upset? I32. I32. You're going to be an int, aren't you? So if I pass you to I32, that's then happy. That is not. Okay, cool. Let's do that. Index in original piece looks like that. If index in original piece is greater than or equal to piece width times piece height, Continue, because it means we're looking at a cell that can't possibly be filled because it's outside of the buffer. And we can then say cell is equal to piece.filled at index in original piece. I think that should work. And that updates filled directly, so we don't have to do another assignment. That then returns it. So, where's that getting called? It's back in here. Right, so get game pieces from global state. As piece will return me out a piece buffer of game pieces and piece counts. I have an error. Bounding box Y. Pos.y. Right. Is that everything out of main? Yeah, it looks it. Cool. Let's go have a look in game.odin. I think this might just be as simple as all of these need to be made game piece. Say active piece is now a game piece. You're a game piece. Recompile. Jumping down. What is piece? Should be a game piece. No, do that. I open it every time, isn't it? Piece. There is actually a game piece. Oh. Oh, okay. Panic unimplemented. Where did I do that? Oopsie daisy. Right, hang on. So that runs. I click start. I get a panic unimplemented because I haven't done that yet. Fair enough. Alright, so if we can get the bounding box, we think we can get the piece. How do we get a bounding box? From the piece. Just find x min, y min, x max, y max, I guess. I say x min, y min, x max, y max, or b. I think I've made everything I32, so I32. Oopsie daisy. Can we jump back, please? So they're all currently 0. I'd like to then say for cell and index in piece. What would we like to do? Work out cell x, cell y. Is that true? If cell is 0, we just go on. No. There you go. So if cell is 0, we just keep going. If cell is not 0, we need to work out x cell and y cell. X cell will be equal to its index into the array modulo piece width. And y cell will be its index into the array integer divided by piece width. x min, or the minimum of x min, x cell, x max will be the maximum of x max and x cell. Angry. These aren't actually i32s, they actually are ints. There we go. And similarly, y min. In fact, can I do... This isn't going to quite work, is it? But do that. Grab that. And... Oh, how do I do it? Is it this? Replacing x underscore with y underscore. Do them all. There we go. The Emacs magic is coming. Cool. That should give us, when we get to the end of this, pos will be equal to a grid pos where x is equal to x min and y is equal to y min. This is where maybe I should go back and standardize this. I don't know why I've ended up with a mix of these. But, so that tells us where the bottom left is, which is what we're using for positions. Dim is equal to a grid dim of width is equal to cast I32 x max minus x min. And height is equal to cast I32 y max minus y min. Turn the lot. Reading that back through, I think that should work for us. See if it compiles. Does compile? Does the game work? So I can't escape. I can escape. Why is that then? They all have that same behavior. Here. Okay. Something's not quite right. Game.odin 779. Looking outside of the grid. Does sound like our bounding box is coming in wrong, doesn't it? Can we do a format print line? Format print line dim. Just shuffle that down here just before we return. Oops. Format print line pos. Format print line. Something like that. Hit that. We can see. How's that not work? Get out of here. Oh, it's because Emacs. I thought it was an awesome window. Damn it. So what are you? Let's start with you, because you're a simpler one. So we have, from the bottom left, we have 2 filled, 3 empty, 2 filled, 3 empty, 2 filled, 3 empty. We're expecting all of these should have grid pods of 0, which is true. Our width and height are wrong. They're both out by 1. Right, because this is 2 by 3, and that's 1 by 2. This should be 3 by 3, and this should be 5 by 3. So what have we messed up? Could just add 1. I don't understand why that's going wrong. So get piece bounding box. For each cell, we get its value. X cell, Y cell. All right, let's bin all that then. Am I just being stupid? Feeling pretty stupid. This feels like it should be easy. All right, format print line. X min, X max, Y min, Y max. Right. So this is this one. It's because the cell position is here, but its width then is actually two things. Even though that's one thing. Yeah, okay. It's kind of the difference between counting cells and counting lines. I think we do just want to add a +1. Oh my god. +1. Was that so difficult? And you are that +1. Right. Wow, that looks terrible. Putting you in there. Can't come out that side. Can't come out that side. Rotate. Can't come out that side. Can't come out that side. Can't break it by rotating it. And if I do this and I rotate, it won't let me because it's correctly saying gonna hit. Cool. I think that's working, boys. And if I clear some lines, it works. Excellent. Right, let's actually test our editing then. Let's make it take up the screen. So, we're in here. We're going to trim the sides off that. See what happens. It has not got the right behavior. Damn it. Ah, what did we get wrong? I'm really not sure. I really thought that would work. Let's just format print line, pause and dim quickly. You know what values we're expecting to see. Let's. Oh dear, oh dear. Let's do that. And we can. What do? We trimmed that like so. We exit, start, close you. Still getting 5x3. Interesting. If I run it again, we do this, we exit, open this again. So that is remembering it. Xmin needs to be big, not small, doesn't it? Yeah, because nothing's ever going to be smaller. Yeah. We got this. Okay. Y max. Fact, maybe the easy thing to do. Declare them all there. Then X min is equal to max int. I think you can do, and Y min is equal to max int. Edit, slice that off. exit, start. Got 4. That looks better. Hey, boys. And our rotating near the sides behavior is working as expected. Cool. Drop him in there. That's working as expected. Drop him in there. Drop him there. Tell you what, boys, I think that's looking pretty good. The other thing we should check is if I remove a piece and I add a piece, do they both show up? I think it does. Would you look at that? Well, I think we call that a bit of a success, because I thought it was going to be way more painful than it was. And line clearing still works. Oh, what a good time. If we come back to here, it's all still in there. And if I do that, I cancel, I come back, it's gone. All right, I think that was a neat way to do that. I'm concerned this is telling me there's errors, and I don't know why. But it's all compiling. Right, I think that's worth a commit. Say, plumbing edited pieces now used in game. That's big. I feel like that's the core gameplay idea implemented. It's admittedly very ugly. The assets are terrible. I think there's still quite a lot left to do. But the idea was flexible Tetris. I wanted to be able to make pieces. We're not done. We need to add rotation centers. But let's just check if I stick everything in here that you can end up with. Right, so we do that. Come in here. Do we see everything? And is there anything fun where you come into like here and rotate him into place? No, it doesn't look it. We seem to be getting a lot of this one. Stack these over and out the way. Wanted to see if I could slot him in there. Ah, beautiful. Okay, that does work like I expected. No, it's got nowhere. Okay. Well, that's exciting. It works, chaps. I'm not saying it's a good game, but it is a game. I mean, it's not fun, right? I'm not having a terrible time. Right. But let's go get our format calls that we've just added. Format ePrint line. Do want those ones still. ePrint line. That one. We don't need the noise on there. Okay. The next thing to do is to add rotation centers to our edit grid. Is that hard? Probably not. I'll keep half an hour at a time. I'm expecting my girlfriend and daughter to get back at some point, so whether we're going to have enough time to actually do this will depend on them, probably. But we can get started. I don't think it'll take that long. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be adding new invisible interactables on our grid entity. So inside of here, I do a search for the word entity, and I look for edit screen, populates entities. It's not in the side panel. Jump in. Main grid. Works out where the grid's going to go. We push our entity that draws the actual grid. I should probably call you like cell click handler, shouldn't I? Right, so they fill the entire grid. Going to make clicking. So I think currently clicks will just hit everything. We can test that. Our invisible click handler entities down there. If I say in here entity push, invisible click handler entity. Give him debug print a procedure can call that will just format print line debug. Then we look at you. You now can have debug print. Probably the wrong type, but we'll sort that out in a minute. You need to know your position and your dimensions, so we'll just have you cover the whole grid. Like that. Your type is wrong because you are required to take a game pointer, I think. Alright, let's go edit. And if I click in here, you see how I do both handlers. I don't have a notion of a handler in front of another handler. So options could be we add that. Right, we put Z values on our click handlers. That's the most flexible. That'll let us do kind of everything. This is probably the only place it matters, though. We could have it do it on right click. So I come in here, I fill these in, I right click to set where I want the rotation center. That feels quite natural. If less flexible. What else could we do? We could leave it so that currently, I guess there's an ambiguity as I'm clicking here. Ah, that's fun. If you click right in the middle, you actually hit both. Is that desirable? Probably not, right? If you're very precise, you can hit multiple of them. So what we could do is we could shrink these handlers down so you have to click more in the center of each tile. And then we'd have separate click handlers on these corners. I think I'm leaning towards right click to set the rotation center, honestly. And we need to show the rotation center. Okay, hang on. Let me go exit, exit. Can delete that we were just adding because it's proven our point. So let's just get back to what we were doing before. It looks like this. We go to the README. I think we're going to do make right-clicking do that. And we need to show the rotation center. The edit grid. Currently don't. Let's start with that. That should be easiest, and I think we can do it with the same logic that the game screen is using. Somewhere in here, it will refer to rot center, or will it not? Interesting. So it's pushing game panel grid, grid pos, grid dim, push the grid entity. Did we make a separate edit grid entity? Or are we reusing grid entity? Grid entity has an active piece. If it has an active piece, data cells. Grid pos, grid dim, gamestate.grid has active piece. So what I'm looking for is where, if I go and play the game quickly, where's drawing that little yellow square? Right, because we kind of want to just do the same thing. I bet it's called yellow. Really? Uh-oh. Do we have a type called color? Red, green, blue, black, white, dark grey, but no yellow. That's probably oversight. Let's see, what colours are there? We've draw rect, we've draw sprite, the debug colour. Okay, that plan of attack hasn't worked. I really thought it must be part of grid, right? Can we jump? I think we're like draw grid. Draw grid. Takes the entity. Draws grid cells. If it has an active piece, it draws the rotation center. Cool. We head back to entity push grid entity. I think we're just reusing that. Are we not? We are not. We have edit grid entity. We do. Edit grid entity. Can we please go to drawable? We find draw edit grid. It also does draw grid cells. But doesn't do the rotation center, so we can just add that. Draw grid. The game grid cares if it has an active piece. The edit grid should just always have a rotation center, right? If I come back down here, should be able to just do this. Screen pause, screen dim, rot center. Ah, you need to work out where you are though. So how's the other use site doing this? Okay, you just need to pass it in its position and the grid dimensions. Draw grid rot center. Data.rot center. Grid width, grid height. Let's see. So I think we can do entity.pos, entity.dim. That's how big the entire grid is. Rot center is going to now live here. It doesn't yet though. So rot center. Pass through there. And the other thing it needed is a grid pos, a grid dim. Sorry, grid pos is the rot center, and then it needs a grid dim, which I'll just pull out here. Grid dim is equal to grid dim. Grid dim width is piece width. I remember how you divide up in here. Is it that? H is piece height, which is that one. Work. U in here can be a grid dim. That, and U in here can be a grid dim like that. Then our only problem is that that's not being set. We come into here. Piece data. Should you just be a piece? I don't know. There could be other stuff that needs to go onto it that we don't care about for how we draw it, if that makes sense. So I think I am going to just add a rot center, which is a grid pos. That should now work. But hopefully something else throws? No. Open the wrong thing. You know, just not getting set. Because everything zero initializes. Because that's just how it be. What we need to do, we need to find where we're making this. Back in here. And we need to pass in rot center equals something. In fact, I think it's going to be as easy as that. Makes the question now, where does it break? Grid pos. Breaks up here, where we push. So where are we now? We are currently in our edit screen populate entities. Do we know our rotation center at this point? If I come in here, just say state piece buffer at state.active piece index rot center blows up. Why blows up? So you do take that. Okay, first of all, let's pull out our what do I call it? Active piece. State piece buffer at state active piece index active piece build. So edit grid entity now needs that position. A grid pos. You should just have that. So active piece dot rot center. Cool, it was just a typo. We run that, and they all show. They only show in here. Do we care? Probably would be nice to show them on this one as well. So that would be up in the side panel. Come back to the top here, side panel. Piece button dim, text button dim, entity push, the text buttons. Then for each of these, entity, button, entity. Piece button entity. Takes a piece data. So you could also just take a rot center. Grid. Pos. And pass it through to here. Come back into this one. It gets a rot center. Grid pos. Pop back, pop back, pop back. No? Okay. Angry at us because it's not got the rot center. So we need to add rot center into here, but it's not defined yet. Entity push. Where do we get it? Where's piece data coming from? From that. Rot center. Game state. Edit state piece buffer. Piece index. I know I'm doing this a dumb way, but that should work. I could type like that. And I think it still won't show because we now need to go to where we draw that thing. Let's head into here. And we want to look for piece button. Jump to there. It gets that. It draws grid cells. Draw grid rot center. Entity pos entity dim grid. Grid dim. And data.rot center. Does exist on there. So I want to pull out a grid dim. Grid dim width equals piece height. Sorry, piece width. Height is piece height. All of that is now grid dim. Why are you angry? Draw rot center. Take those the other way around. Entity dim, data.rot center, grid dim. And now you can see them on here. Excellent. Right, let's just do a commit at that point as well. In fact, we'll go update that in the README. We're now doing that. What do we call you? Show rot center in edit grids. So now we're going to have right-click handling to update its value. Just checking the time. I think I might not have enough time to do that today. So I think that's going to be as far as we get, at least for this session. Maybe I'll sneak away at some point in the evening to do a bit more. But, I mean, it's getting kind of exciting, boys. Right, we get to the point where you can now right-click in these to set it. I guess there's going to be a little bit of logic to work out, right? We have to say, given we know where the grid is, offset everything and make it so that right-clicking like near this one selects that one. But we could totally do that. It's just shifting things by half the width and height of the cells, so that doesn't sound too hard. I don't think we have anything for registering right-clicks yet, but maybe we do. So we have these key events. They know press and release. They know source. Handle a mouse event. So yeah, we currently handle mouse event. Takes a mouse event. In here, mouse button callback. Yeah, we don't handle right button clicks. Oh, but interesting, we do save that it was left. That seems silly. Alright, let's take a to-do next in there then. Handle right button clicks. So we can use them for setting rot center in edit screen. I think that'll be our next video. So, some more good progress. Hope you found that entertaining. I've had a good time. So, there's that at least. We are getting there. I will catch you next time.